All right, welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Let's take a check-in on today's daily slate in Major League Baseball. Nobody better than to check in than with Rob Donaldson, who's going to join us now. He's got his eye on some of the games, which includes an afternoon game at Wrigley Field. Rob, great to have you here back on NewsWire. Really appreciate it, and certainly the friendly confines, always fun when it's like that solo game going on. That appears to be the case today. Cubs take on the Pirates. Hey, Pirates playing good ball here. Corbin, not their top starter today. And of course, naturally, you never know what you're going to get. The 5, the 1, I think Mlodzinski more or less the 5 on their team. Shota Imanaga, and I'm going to guess the wind is blowing in at Wrigley. That's always the question, because I'm seeing a total here of 6.5. Now, this could change in a second. You know that. Cubs minus 145 today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you're talking about a day game at Wrigley, it's always going to be a weather kind of related event because either it's blowing out or it's blowing in, and the total is going to reflect that immediately. You're just going to know without even having to check AccuWeather, right? But at the same
Right.
time, you look at the Pittsburgh Pirates right now, and they're rolling. I think they're a really good team, but you kind of mentioned it. Carmen Mlodzinski is not one of their top end guys, and when you do look at just the under the hood numbers for his first two starts, you see a lot of hard hit balls that he's not really paying for, and kind of vice versa on the Chicago, lineup side of things. You're seeing a lot of guys hitting a lot of hard balls who aren't necessarily getting rewarded for it in the early goings. And so I think there's a positive regression angle when you're talking about the Cubs lineup. I think there's a negative regression angle when you're talking about Carmen Mlodzinski. And for that reason, I'm targeting that first 5, and I'm going to be willing to lay the half run with the Cubbies here.
Yeah, Cubs, should get this win today, you would think. But I think right now the question is, can the Pirates continue to play how they're playing? And there's still some skepticism, I guess, on that. All right, let's go to Philadelphia, where the Diamondbacks will take on the Phillies tonight. The Phillies are huge favorites because Jesus Luzardo was pitching. He's minus 180, total of 8.5. Diamondbacks are just trying to press through here a little bit and kind of find themselves, I think, in this early part of the season. Should Luzardo be this big of a favorite tonight, Rob, over Arizona?
I think if you're looking at it on just the kind of the backs of Jesus Luzardo, I don't necessarily think he's kind of the one justifying this price point. That said, when you do look at Michael Soroka, kind of like what we were just talking about with Carmen Mlodzinski, the under the hood numbers in terms of hard hit percentage right now are not in line with what could be a good track here for our boy here in Michael Soroka. And for that reason, I really like the Phillies offense to really kind of spark themselves in this game very early on. I know we just laid that half run through the first 5 innings, but I'm going to be willing to do it again here because I think Michael Soroka, when you look at a 0.9 ERA, that's just not truly representative of what's going on. Sure, he can go out there and toss some Ks, but I think today he's going to land a lot of balls in seats in the outfield here, and I think the Phillies are going to be the main beneficiary.
All right, fair enough. Now, I did see the Reds for 4 games in person. They look like a really good team to me, Rob, but they're just having a hard time scoring runs consistently. So I look at this total of 9 and wonder where this is honestly coming from. Chase Burns has been fantastic. Look, this is a game that the Angels basically have to throw their 5 out, and it's Coach Anowitz who's pitching today for the Angels. So I don't have a ton of confidence there, but I also am not sure that the Reds are going to score a lot yet. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and this is kind of where it wouldn't be the most conviction that I have on the board for sure, but I look at Kohanowitz and I just also look at the pitching matchup with Chase Burns. To me, Chase Burns is electric, but electric for real, right? He's not just a guy who is going to hit the zone, work efficiently, or get tagged up if he's not right that given day. I think he has the ability to pitch to contact. I also think he has the ability to go out there and toss 11 Ks. And so through the first 5 frames, that's kind of where my head goes. I'm looking at, team total unders for the Angels. I'm also looking at ways to kind of back the Reds when he's starting through those first 5 frames, and 3 in a
Makes
row. But
sense.
I'm going to be like, yeah, absolutely. And through those first 5 frames, I'm going to be willing to lay that half run, I think, with Chase Burns and the Reds here.
Yeah, Burns has been absolutely fantastic. I didn't see him pitch though this week. Twins have been a little bit of a surprise, winning some games here. Simeon Woods Richardson goes up against Patrick Corbin, who's filling in on the Blue Jays until they get some of their starters back. What a disaster to start the season for Toronto, Rob. We know they'll get it going eventually, but how about today against Minnesota?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the Blue Jays lineup right now, it's just kind of an unfortunate shape, right? Where they do have some big names still in the lineup. George Springer, Vladdy are still in there, but ultimately, this is kind of a banged up lineup that's producing like a really banged up lineup. And although, Patrick Corbin's the starter in this game for the Blue Jays, a lot of people, when they see that name, Corbin taking the bump or Pete Corbin on the bump, they're wanting to take the other side or take the over. I actually think
Sure.
that when you look at the past 2 years, Patrick Corbin's been tossing more quality games than not. Like, yes, he is still going to give up those blow up outings where he only goes 3 innings, gives up 7 earned runs, but the majority of his outings are him going 5 or 6, deep and only giving up 3 or 4 earned runs. Yeah, again, not a top end guy that you want to rely on come playoff time, for example, but in these kind of game vacuums when you're seeing a total of 9, I think he actually gives us some validity to the under here, especially when you're pairing it with the Blue Jays and Twins lineup. So I'm looking at the under 9, and I'm really liking that bet.
All right, so let's take a look at all of Rob's plays today here, and then we'll cap it off with one more game before we go because I want to make sure we get those in. He's got Twins, Blue Jays under, as he just mentioned, under 9. Nationals, Brewers over 4.5, first 5. Reds, Phillies, and Cubs, first 5 as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's the entire slate, and we got all games in action today, or all teams rather. And it's just a really fun day to be a baseball fan. It starts with the Cubs here soon.
All right, last one, Rob, real quick, 30 seconds here. I know not a strong one for you on Imai pitching for the Astros today against Emerson Hancock, who certainly is happy with his bank account. 7.5 is the total. Seattle minus 136.
Yeah, these are two teams that are riding some serious losing streaks and are kind of in the doldrums. It's a team that's got to win here on both sides of the coin. I think Emerson Hancock gets the Seattle Mariners the kind of the right side of that winning wager, and so I would take the money line with the Mariners. Just don't have a lot of conviction there.
Fair enough. Great stuff, Rob. As always, we got your card in for the day. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Enjoy the rest of the day here.